Hey everyone, I'm Lindsay Hoffman and welcome to the Dose of Bliss show where we give you daily doses of bliss. Today we have a public relations and communications expert, especially in the Hispanic market, here to talk to us about real and fake news. What should we know? I don't know, we're gonna find out. We have Gabriel Reyes. We got the little clap. We got to have it in. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
For those of you who don't know, he works with many well-known celebrities. He's been doing this for years. So I'm so excited. You guys get to find out really what the real people are like in Hollywood, and he's amazing.
Thank you so much.
So we're getting into, everyone's always talking about fake news today.
Yeah.
What is fake news?
Well, fake news is, I think, what has come to be known as now is a way for you to defend any kind of news that you don't like. You can just very easily say, oh, that's fake news. And so I think that that's one of the issues that's happening now today in the media landscape, that it's getting harder and harder for people to differentiate between truth and what's fake news, what people call fake news.
And I like how you say, too, instead of it being just fake news or gossip or what it normally is, it really is subjective in a way to if people don't like what they hear, even if it is real.
Sure. Yes. So I think it goes back to, there's like this very innate reaction that people have, and many of us have it, that we don't want to be wrong. Nobody wants to be wrong. Everybody wants to be right. And a lot of times we fight for the right to be right, even if we are proposing something that's wrong. And if we don't like to be called out on it, we can always say, well, that's fake news, in order to make ourselves be right. So it's an epidemic of I'm right, instead of saying, maybe your point of view is valid and I should consider it and take it into account. It's easier to just say, no. It's fake news. It's only what I think.
And also, people like the entertainment of it. Because as I was saying before we started the show is, I'm a journalist. I went to journalism school. And I don't know if you probably learned this way back when, but there has been gossip and fake news forever.
Oh, sure.
You can Google it in ancient history. But one of the most famous ones that I remember was during the printing press times in the 1800s. There was an article that they completely fabricated about people on the moon. I don't know if you had heard about this story. And everyone believed it. And then they came out and said, oh, it was fake. We just made this up for entertainment purposes. Right. And nobody cared. The public liked it. So they continued to make these fake gossip stories because the public wanted to hear it. It's
entertainment.
So that's another half of it.
Yes.
The entertainment aspect of it. What do you think about that?
Well, people love entertainment. And of course, I love entertainment. Everybody does. So what has happened historically is that back in, I don't know, maybe in the 60s or in the 50s, the news divisions were news. And all they did was report the news. And they were always money-losing enterprises. So let's say ABC, NBC, CBS, the three major networks that were operating at that time, their news division was always losing money. And that was okay with them because it was news. But then in the 70s, we got infotainment. So then news became entertainment. And so then it became to be packaged. I don't know whether you've seen the movie Network, but the movie Network is very much about this, about how the news departments became entertainment departments. And so it became very important for them to make money. And the way to make money is for them to inject entertainment into the news. So then we got infotainment. And so now people are really more interested in how you wrap the story, how you wrap a news story into an entertainment story. So now when you see, and now we have 24-hour news cable, so there's a constant stream of news. And if there's no news, we're going to make some news. Mm-hmm. And so everything that you think, a lot of times I'm watching cable news and I'm thinking, that's not news. Why is that news? Because they got to fill 24 hours. And so now you have a lot of entertainment that's mixed in. And so what happens is the truth gets lost, because people want to be entertained. And a lot of times it's easier to feed an entertaining story that might not be true than to a boring story that is true.
because that's what's going to get you more views, especially in the internet age and social media. I think even people who have Instagrams who aren't in news, they know if they post a certain type of picture or if they make a certain type of caption and use the right hashtag,
Yes,
it's
then
going to
you
get
get lots of
traffic.
yes, and so it's a lot of times, you know, the rise of salaciousness in news and in media, because that gets clicks, that gets people, that gets likes, that gets shares. I had an experience not too long ago. Well, I was reading a blog, and I read a piece that was really offensive, and I called the editor, which is a friend of mine, and I said, "How can you allow this piece to exist on your blog? Because not only is it offensive, it's untrue." And he was just so glad that I had called, and he did not care whether there was truth to the story or not. He cared that people were talking about it, that people were going to share it, that people were going to comment. And so he said, go in and comment and put a comment and tell them you like it, you know, say that you hate it and it's very offensive, because that will get more people to comment on it. So it's really, that was the goal. And the goal wasn't to inform in a truthful way. The goal was to get clicks and likes, regardless. And so there is now a sort of it's not new, but there's a way now that you can say something that's really outrageous and crazy and maybe a lie, and you'll get tons of people. You'll get every reporter coming to you and asking you why you said it. And you get tons and tons of media. So it encourages you to just be as outlandish and as outrageous as you can, because you're going to get a lot of free press.
Exactly. And
So that's what's happening.
Before, because I want at the end of this to get into how do we find the truth in all of these things, you know, who's behind the fake news? Because I'm a journalist, so I kind of want to talk about what's really going on behind the scenes, because behind the scenes, there's often agendas. You'll see, I remember working in the office and Justin Bieber punched Orlando Bloom. And that same day, Miranda Kerr, who was getting a divorce from Orlando Bloom, came out with a designer pair of jeans that exact same day.
Yeah.
And I was like, was this orchestrated? Because this is the same day. This is not a coincidence.
It very well could be. You know, I'm not saying that they premeditated this. Maybe it was just a lucky accident, but I can see how people might want to premeditate something like that in order to just blow something up. Because what has happened is that we are, you know, it's kind of like the cat that's chasing the light in the wall. That's how we are as a society. So anytime somebody blows something up, we all go and look at it, and we're like, oh. So the more bombs you throw out there, the more you're going to have people coming and looking.
People are going to be searching your name. Even the recent Jordin Woods scandal with Chloe cheating with her husband or boyfriend.
Yeah.
You know, that same day she launched a lipstick line, and she was so it's like, was this? Obviously, it wasn't completely planned, but it's very convenient that that was the day after that launch.
Yes, and that happens, and you know, I would say more power to them, because they're using these tools that are available. Is it honorable? I don't know. But it's going to be profitable for them, and they're going to get a lot more clicks. They're probably going to sell a lot more product, having this controversy along with the launch of their product.
So who creates fake news? Is it the news themselves? Is it the media? Is it a mix of everyone?
Well, you know, it depends, because, you know, what happens is that we live in such a fast society, and we all in sound bites, and we need to digest information very quickly. So we're using a lot of loaded words and moving on. Loaded words are words that have a lot of baggage, a lot of meaning, that need nuance, but we don't do nuance. Liberal, conservative, socialism, all of these words are loaded words that have a lot of nuance to them, but we don't concentrate on the nuance. We just go to the go-to. Oh, you know, if somebody's saying that we should raise benefits for the people, then they're being accused of being a socialist. But there's no understanding behind that. There's no understanding behind what the intention was before. And yet, the same people that would say that's socialism are totally for giving money to large corporations. They don't see that as socialism. So, you know, if you really want to get into nuance, then you start to explain the truth. But people don't have time for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like whatever the word is, yeah, socialist, socialist,
Yeah,
socialist.
you see one word and that's all you
Yeah,
see.
yeah. And there's people who are very adept now at using these tools in order to change public opinion. The word liberal, for example, in parts of the country, the word liberal is like a bad word. People don't want to be known as liberals because that word is just so like loaded with, you want open borders, you want nobody working but get everything for free, you want, just go to the extreme of what that might mean, and all of a sudden you're out of it. You can't have a conversation anymore because somebody already went to the extreme. I was talking to somebody about gay marriage, and then that person will say, "Well, what's next? Are you going to marry your dog?" And so, see, that brings the conversation to a halt, and you have nowhere to go from that because they've gone to the opposite extreme. So that's a great way to silence you. If you go to the extreme of the opposite of what you're proposing and it sounds insane, then you're insane.
Yeah, and you don't even want to listen to it. I've seen people delete people off of Facebook because they don't agree with the things they're saying and they're going this extreme versus actually finding a middle where the truth is between both sides, because there's truth on all sides. It's
and you've got to get into the nuance of it to really come to a place where there is, like you said, some truth. But very few of us ever get there, because we get stuck on those loaded words, and then it becomes a shouting match, and then it all breaks down.
So that's a perfect segue. How do we get to the truth and find out what is the real fact in the fake news and the real? How do we know?
Well, I think that one of the main things that we need to do is ourselves, we need to be better consumers of media. And to be better consumers of media, not only do we have to research where we get our news and they're true or not, but we need to also be good managers of our own emotions. What happens too much of the time on social media is people are triggered, emotionally triggered by news, by the posts that they see. And so immediately the anger rises, and then they start posting, and it just breaks down. Communication breaks down. So I would say take a breath. If you're looking at something that you don't like or that really angers you or triggers you, take a breath, go inside and ask yourself why you're being so triggered by this. Because if you're really upset about this, you got it inside of yourself. So you got to really take care of your own self before you go out vomiting stuff on other people because you're triggered. So it's really about self-control and not controlling, but being a master of your emotions. So you can take a breath and get back to a place of center where you can continue a conversation in a sensible way.
Exactly. And you have to be unbiased because you have the same journalistic background as me. I worked completely in gossip. So that is kind of, in a sense, the biggest of creating a story. A lot of people would say, is this real? And everything we said was real. We had to go through a lot of legal, but we would use keywords. We would we'd call it fluff the story up. I'm sure you talk to the rep and I'd be like, I need to fluff it up like this. We're looking for this angle. But I come at it with that completely unbiased. I want to. That's why I have the show. I want to have people tell a story. We should want to know what other people are thinking and take all of the information and then see, okay, where is the truth in all of this?
And have a complete story.
And have it, because if everything was one-sided on any side, it would never be good.
Yeah, because it's biased.
Yes,
it would be like many of the media outlets are today, where many of the stories are biased. So yeah, you do have to, kind of get to a point of where you're centered and you're coming from a place of truth and intention. Your intention should be that you want to tell a true story. Now, you worked in gossip. I have to say that with the way that the media landscape has changed and how print has suffered so much in the last few years, but the magazines that continue to thrive are the celebrity magazines.
Exactly, because people, it's what we're saying, and that's where I work. And I mean, they're still going through a hard time, but people want to see those sensationalized stories.
They want to see the backstory.
And the celebrities, they know it's, and that's why I was asking about the agendas and things, because the celebrities, when I started, I'd be scared to ask for these stories, but it's a business. They want to share the stories when the time is right, when it's in collaboration with something they're doing, when it makes sense.
Yes.
So it really is, the media is really a landscape that's kind of orchestrated in the way, and I feel the consumer needs to pick through what's entertainment, where's the truth within this.
Exactly, and then have that kind of wherewithal within yourself to say and not be swayed by a headline or an article that might not be true, but you agree with it, and so you can't be swayed to go out and spread that.
Yeah.
Like if I read an article and it's totally I totally agree with all this, but I know it's false, I'm not going to go spread it.
Exactly.
Because I know it's false. But that's a very hard thing not to do, because if I see an article and it's telling me everything I want to hear, I want to spread it around. I want more people to see it. And so that's when you have to pull yourself back. That's when you have to be responsible. That's when you have to be a good consumer of media.
And so we only have a few minutes left, but what are your 3 tips for the average person of how to fact check an article, how to, if they want, say there is a story that they like that agrees with them, but it's not a reputable site or something, how can they find the information to maybe support what they want so they can, at least if they want to have an argument with someone, have it backed up by facts?
Yes, and that's a great question, because so many people are just headline. But I think, first of all, where is it coming from? Like a lot of times when I'm on Facebook and I look at that website where this story is, it's some kind of weird unknown website. So that tips me off right away. So what's that website? Go look at it. Then Google that subject and see what else people are saying about it. And are there reputable news outlets that are talking about it, and what are they saying? And then you'll eventually get to a place where you'll see what's true or what's not true. But that takes time.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time and commitment. And I think most of us don't have that.
Yeah,
and so we get so easily brainwashed into different things because, the headline says what I like, so I'm going to, spread it around. So it takes time to be a responsible consumer of media.
So would you say the biggest message about spotting real news from fake news is really within ourselves and
do the research, take a breath within yourself, and then number 3 is spread whatever the truth was at the beginning. So if you saw something that had only a little bit of truth, once you go and you research it, you find out what that is, then spread that one kernel of truth, but don't spread the other, the whole other,
so we can all be
the whole other story. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
It was such
went
a
by
pleasure.
so fast.
I know. I always wish we had more time. We'll have to have you back because we've already talked about so many more stories. But
yes.
Can you tell our viewers where they can find you?
Sure. ReyesEntertainment.com is my website. I am on Facebook, Reyes Entertainment. I am on Instagram, Reyes Entertainment. I am on LinkedIn, Gabriel Reyes and Reyes Entertainment. Twitter, Gabriel Reyes Ent.
Amazing. And if you guys want to watch Dose of Bliss, which I know you guys do, wherever you're watching this, please subscribe to the show. You can watch it on EverTalk TV, Focus TV Network, and of course my YouTube channel, Lindsay B. Hoffman. So please tune in and we will see you next time. Thank you so much for coming. Bye.
Bye.